Today was the first day that landlords could file evictions against tenants who hadn't been able to pay because of the pandemic. The federal ban on such evictions expired this weekend. Evictions are still expected to rise over the coming weeks, as Local 12's James Pilcher reports in our latest installment of Childhood Poverty, Cincinnati's Crisis.
Kenton County's eviction court in northern Kentucky saw only one new eviction filing Monday. Officials with the Campbell County court reported business as usual as well.
Now here at the Hamilton County Justice Center in downtown Cincinnati, where evictions happen in Hamilton County, there hasn't been a big surge as of Monday, the first day that they could be filed. That doesn't mean it isn't going to happen, though.
Hamilton County Court Clerk Aftab Pureval told Local 12 Monday 53 evictions had been suspended by the federal moratorium. Now that it's lifted, as many as 40 tenants and families could be in eviction court as soon as this week. Emily Lemmerman with Princeton University's Eviction Lab helps track numbers in Cincinnati, Hamilton County, and across the country. She expects evictions to climb, but not for a few weeks, as landlords need to give tenants at least 30 days notice before going to court. Lemmerman points to other states trying new policies to keep the numbers down.
In Minnesota and Oregon, they're basically requiring that courts not consider eviction cases for people who have already applied for rental assistance and are waiting to hear back. So that's particularly a policy that I think we at the Eviction Lab think will be pretty effective.
Don Brunner runs one of the area's largest apartment operations. He's also president of the Local Apartment Association and about to become the national chair as well.
Mr. Brunner, are we going to see a wave of evictions from landlords now that the ban is lifted?
I sure hope not. Hopefully we're going to continue working with the agencies for funding that's out there for the individuals and hopefully continue to get assistance in their hands.
Brunner says most landlords want to avoid evictions at all possible. They are more expensive than keeping tenants in place, especially with possible federal rental assistance coming. So far, Hamilton County and Cincinnati have given out more than $10 million of the $100 million in rental assistance allocated by the stimulus packages.
Now nationally, about 10% of the $45 billion in the stimulus for rental assistance has actually made its way into landlords or tenants' hands. In downtown, James Pilcher, Local 12 News.
Now you can read all of our stories in our series, Childhood Poverty, Cincinnati's Crisis, at childhoodpoverty.com.
Neighbors in a local community say they are concerned about their safety because they are literally trapped by train crossings.
Courtney Wheaton went to St. Clair Township today to find out what's being done to fix it.
It's definitely a tough situation. I just got these renderings from the Butler County engineer. He says there are 3 crossings in St. Clair Township in the middle of subdivision with 215 homes. With signs in hand, frustrated residents voice their concerns one by one.
I think it's a matter of time before someone dies waiting on an ambulance. Because when this thing's blocked, we can see a half hour.
Residents say crossings operated by Southern Norfolk and CSX are constantly trapping them.
As time goes by, it's getting worse because the trains are getting longer and longer and longer. They didn't used to be this long. 35 years ago, there would be a couple trains a day.
In the last 6 months, longtime resident Pam Strope was able to bring the community together to create a petition and come up with 4 solutions.
We proposed a roadway out that way to get us to Taylor School Road. We proposed an over-underpass on Spring Road, and then we've proposed another road to follow the tracks into New Miami or to rebuild a bridge that was washed out in 1913 flood.
Today, the Butler County Commissioners viewed those options along with the county engineer. I asked the commissioners how they plan to address these concerns.
The next step is for the commissioners to decide how much funding comes to the project. Based on the amount of funding, that will tell us which of the options we're going to be able to put in place.
The county engineer says those options range in price from $3 to $10 million and could take years to complete.
Usually when you get into big dollar projects, you go after federal money. And anytime I do that, there's a minimum probably about 5 years. So if you do it with local money and that, it expedites the project immensely.
But with an aging community, residents fear time is running out.
5 years before they even start working, maybe. It's like, we'll be dead by then. We're 70 years old. My neighbor's 86 years old. She's in her 70s. Half the people out here are elderly. Our elderly people, We need help.
It's safe to say that this community is at a crossroads. I did talk to those commissioners, and they hope to have a decision within the next 2 weeks. In St. Clair Township, I'm Courtney Wheaton, Local 12 News.
We reached out to both railroad companies. A representative from CSX claims it was a Norfolk Southern crossing causing the issues. We have not yet heard back from Norfolk Southern.
Violence on the streets by starting to properly fund and train community leaders.
Today, a Cincinnati council member is proposing putting the power and the money into the hands of those whose boots are on the streets. David Winter explains.
Ennis Tate and his family are cleaning up the streets of Avondale, both literally and figuratively.
Cleaning up the community is a process.
Ennis, just one of many community leaders who say one way to end the gun violence is to make the community a place in which people can be proud.
We're going to get the ball rolling.
Avondale, one of several neighborhoods represented this morning at a press conference, introducing a plan providing funding, training, and support to community groups.
They know their communities better than anybody. They know where the crime is happening, and they know what they need to stop it.
People like East Westwood's Rodney Christian, who is holding roundtables in his community to reach the disenfranchised.
This madness is happening in our lifetime right now. I refuse to sit up here and walk away from this podium here and business as usual.
Landsman's proposal includes $1 million to seed community programs like in East Westwood.
So this building is what will be our resource center.
Tiara Powell says it will be used for career preparation, including providing interview haircuts with a twist.
When you typically go to the barbershop, they listen to music and watch music videos, but here we want them to be able to see motivational speeches and different programming to say how interview tips.
It's 2021. Why is it taking this long for this kind of effort to happen?
You know, I think is in part because of just how tragic the issues, the shootings have been. I mean, one of the reasons why I got as fired up about this as I am is because of what happened in East Westwood. You know, an 8-year-old caught in the crossfire who's still fighting for his life.
And while it may have taken this shooting in June to prompt the effort, the hope is that the effort will prompt sweeping change in communities that could certainly use the help.
We're getting close to the start of the school year, and for many tri-state families, as COVID cases continue to rise, districts are considering mask mandates.
Many districts have decided to let every family decide for themselves, but as Tessa DeTiro shows us, a few in Kentucky are taking a stronger stance.
When Covington Independent students head back to school, they're going to need one of these. The district is one of the first in Kentucky to mandate masks for students and staff. Today, the superintendent tells me the decision was simple and it's all about safety.
We like to think of ourselves as trendsetters, pioneers, and again, I don't think this is the toughest decision we've made throughout this pandemic.
Also following suit, Bellevue Independent Schools. As of today, masks are required at Bellevue for students and staff regardless of vaccination status.
You know, do you expect any backlash to the decision?
I don't anticipate any. Like I said before, we've been our folks have been so cooperative and supportive. I don't anticipate any because we are looking out for the safety of our students as well as our faculty and staff.
The debate continues in Ohio. Mason City Schools is strongly recommending masks inside, but not requiring them. Today, more than 100 doctors sent this letter to the superintendent and the school board, asking to put masking in place for all students and staff. And in Oak Hills, parents are planning to protest both for and against masks outside tonight's Board of Education meeting. Tessa DeTiro, Local 12 News.
Cincinnati Public Schools says its mask policies have not changed since last year. The school board plans to vote on a mask mandate soon.